Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight, where we showcase the best of the best global business technology executives, inspiring trust and winning in a global digital economy. In this episode, we feature Ken Spangler, FedEx Corporation's Executive Vice President IT and CIO for Global OpCo Technologies, and a 2023 nominee for the HMG Global Leadership Institute's Hall of Fame. And now, here's our host, Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy.
Hello, and welcome to the HMG Spotlight. We're here with Ken Spangler from FedEx. Ken, you're the HMG Global Leadership Institute Hall of Fame nominee recipient. Thank you so much for being here today, and great to have you here.
Well, Hunter, thank you for having me. I'm honored and I'm humbled for the nomination, first of all, but it's always great to be with you, and this is an honor to be with you today.
How do you differentiate yourself, your leadership style, having a people-first approach?
Well, part of it I think is in my natural DNA, and part of it is the culture of FedEx, to give credit where credit's due. And the best way I would describe it is, one of the things I learned pretty early on in leadership, and I apply it to this day, is no matter where you are in the world, no matter what teams you're working with, when you hear a lot of words like we and us, that's going to be a successful team. When you think of the greater good, when you think of working as a team, when you think of the best of all forms, from diversity to skills to everything, when you think of that and you hear teams saying words like we and us, again, that's success. Conversely, sometimes when you hear a little bit too much them and they, or it's us against them, that's somewhere you better really dig in, and there's probably a lot of opportunity to fix it.
Ken, I love it. We and us and team. Talk to us a little bit more about building world-class, high-performing teams.
Well, I think it starts with, a cultural expectation of continuous learning. And, we all should be lifelong learners and continuous learning. And then it's about how you apply it. And then I do think, part of business or sports, whatever you're leading, and, the results matter. And the results are the results. We can't make excuses. We have to say the results are results. And sometimes I've said it might sound a little harsh. The results are results. The rest is all noise. But I think, when you really have a great team, you hire great people, you keep a continuous learning mindset, you take what you learn and you take the excitement and the energy of these people, you apply it to do very challenging things, you get a result. And, for the most part, when you have a great culture, you have great focus on technology, those results will be very positive. And when they're not, you accept that it's a team. We always say, we win together and we lose together. If there are results that need improved, we own it as we and us. We don't point fingers, and we get in and do root cause analysis and figure out how do we get better. So, again, this might sound like sometimes I feel a little bit like I'm answering like these are the basics, but the basics matter in leadership and business.
When you think of partners, what do you think about true partners that have been with you for years or decades? What do you look for, and what's the most revealing quality of a world-class partner?
I don't want to sound redundant, but a world-class partner definitely uses a lot of words like we and us. I have a great story early in my career. I was a young vice president at the time. We were doing unbelievable things. And I had an engineering partner. He was a brilliant guy, but just hard guy. And our teams fought all the time. We were being successful. We were building a lot, but it was hard, and it took your energy, and sometimes it took your spirit away. And him and I went to lunch one day, and I said to him, I says, I know I'm certain you can't be successful without me, but I can't be successful without you. And we made a pact, and the pact was we were going to lead positively as a team, one team, we and us. And when we had to disagree, and believe me, there was plenty of times, we did that behind closed doors. And that shadow of a leader, both of us changing the shadow of a leader to use we and us, he became, probably the best business partner I've ever had. And the fact that he was brilliant, the fact that we were aggressive, the fact that our teams worked so well together, it was the best 10-year period of my career, even to this day, I would say.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So I hear you say it's the best time ever right now to be a technology executive, a technology leader in the C-suite, the line of business, and in the boardroom?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's maybe 2 points I'd make on that. From a frontline person, if I were coming out of university today, what is possible and what will continue to accelerate? It's the most important or best time, I would say, to come out even if you're an entry-level person starting today. Now, if you're a leader, I think the real difference is if you're a technology leader, you can't be a great technology leader if you're also not a great business leader. Today, leading technology is understanding and being involved and intimately part of the business. But it's also true the other direction. Being a business leader today, it's more important than ever to understand. I'm not trying to say you have to write code, but you must be some form of a technologist. You must understand at least the capabilities and how to apply it, how to implement it, and how to transform a business based on technology as well. So that's probably one of the other things. I would call that the second part that makes this the most exciting time. Technologists become much more integrated with the business than ever before. That's exciting. And business people have more enablement than ever before by technology. And it's interesting. I pay really close attention to a lot of the MBA programs and stuff. And if you look at some of the world-class universities, the MBA programs today are really stressing technology and applying technology, even if you're just getting, some form of a master's in business. It's very focused on technology. And that's the beginning of seeing what it takes to be a leader of the future.
Hey, Ken, I know you're really fond of doing as an adjunct professor to Carnegie Mellon, and you have the strategy lab. Talk to us about a model or a thought regarding creating a big vision for the business and for the technology platform, the technology executive, and getting your team around that vision and getting the troops to rally around that and to push that vision forward around real meaningful measures, objectives, and initiatives.
Well, I'm a native Pittsburgher. I grew up there. So just to be associated with Carnegie Mellon, I love. That's, my hometown. And that university is one of the great universities in the world. So, in this strategy lab, one of the things we talk about is creating business strategy and technology strategy. And I've talked about traditional left to right model. So in other words, in any period of time when you were building business strategy, didn't matter if it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 5 years ago, there are all kind of inputs. There's market forces, competitive forces, economic forces, there's all these inputs. And the traditional way companies did it left to right is they took all these inputs. And from there, they, got to some form of here's a strategy. Based on all of his inputs, this is our strategy. And then they would look and commoditize that strategy and say, well, here's the capabilities we need to enable our strategy, and maybe the sequencing and other things. And then they would look at technology and how do we enable it through technology now? Very left to right. And when we talk about a strategy lab is that will always apply. Left to right will always matter. But it's also building great strategy today is also right to left. And that is, it's not just using technology on that far right side as an enabler. It's looking at technology as a disruptor and an enabler and a changer of the world. And so, when you build strategy, you go left to right and right to left and come into the center, and your strategy in the center, and then you enable it going down. So we kind of build a model that looks like that. But to stress the point, right to left is, it's not just using technology to apply to enable, it's to change, transform, and mostly disrupt. That's what the best strategies come from. And when business strategy and technology strategy are more integrated, and current state to future state is a clear vision, then those are great strategies that you can usually implement and usually will have more impact.
Talk to us a little bit about leadership. Why leadership matters is always mattered, but now more than ever in this current environment we're in, leadership truly matters.
Well, yeah, you set it up best. Leadership always matters, right? I would just say there's a couple things, the dynamic times we're living in, change like we've never seen, and then acceleration like we've never seen. So it's not just, the world's always changed. The speed of change is unbelievably different. And you must be much more of a dynamic leader than you've always been. So sometimes what you knew in the past, you apply, and that will always be true. It's just a matter, you also have to be a lifelong learner now. You have to just continue to learn and adapt.
So throughout 2023, we're talking about leading courageously, leading boldly, leading authentically, and sometimes being uncomfortable in your current role as it relates to the speed of change, the speed of innovation, the speed of adapting. What are your thoughts about the idea of leaning forward and leaning in and being uncomfortable in the process?
Well, again, it's another one you just set up, I think, very well. I think anybody, doesn't matter if you're talking about 30 years ago or today, you always needed to look forward, lean forward, always be in some form of transformation. I know that may be the most overused term in business today, but you should always be learning and growing. It's just that now it's an imperative. In the past, it was a key to success. Today, if you don't do it, it's a key to failure.
Hey, Ken, congratulations. Great interview, and congratulations on being a 2023 Global Leadership Institute Hall of Fame nominee. Thrills me to no end to be here with you today, and really appreciate our collaboration, your engagement in HMG Strategy. Again, thank you.
Well, thank you, Hunter. Again, I'm honored, and it's always great to be with you. And I've got to meet so many great people through your network and this network. I really appreciate it. So thank you, and I'm honored.
We hope you found this episode of HMG's Executive Leadership Spotlight beneficial. The HMG Global Network, a network of 400,000 technology leaders and a media platform that delivers more than 1 million impressions per week, is a valuable source of insight, continuous learning, and peer-to-peer research based on the insights and experiences of world-class, top-tier technology executives. Leverage the HMG network. Go to hmgstrategy.com to find out more.